Hey everyone, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So, today's reading, when will I find the love of my life? That is the question today. So we have 5 crystals before us. So think in your mind about the love of your life, meeting them. Think of the feelings that it's going to engender inside of you. And then you're going to pick your crystal. So for today's crystals, we have green jade, Tiffany stone, like this light purple. Then we have this Labradorite piece. Then we have Ametrine. I don't know if you can see the yellow and the purple in there. Then we have this double pointed quartz. All right, take all the time you need to pick your crystal. You can pause the video here if you need to. Sometimes it helps to take a deep breath, close your eyes, open your eyes, and whatever crystal pops out to you first, that's your crystal. So with that said, we're going to move on with the reading, starting with group number 1, the green jade. Hey, group number 1, if you picked the green jade. So let's get into your reading. So first, we're going to draw 2 Moonology cards. For you guys. Then we'll draw some tarot cards. Okay, we'll put that one right there actually. Too many. Make sure all of these are in the camera. Okay. I'll get you a Whispers of Love card. Take from the top. And last but not least, a crystal wisdom affirmation card. I'll take this one. Okay, this will be the Hidden Night. Interesting. It's like a yellow stone. It's like a lemony version of citrine. I've never seen that stone before. Interesting. Okay, let's flip over your cards. Let's see what you have here. Flip over your last card right here. Okay. Okay, very interesting pile if you pick the green jade. So we're starting off with a very, like I said, interesting read. So what we see here is with your love of your life, the person you're really just going to fall head over heels with, deeply in love. What we see here with the situation, what's going on, when you're going to meet them, it looks as if you're going to meet them in a time where... Well, first of all, with the 3 of Swords and a fiery climax approaches, it's almost as if you're meeting them in a time when one of your previous relationships or relationship that you're in has like a big kind of like explosive ending is the best way to put it. You meet this person kind of right after a breakup. So sometimes they say when you like rebound, it's just a rebound. You're not going to have any kind of serious relationship with them. Well, you're getting out of something really kind of hectic and almost stressful, a relationship that's maybe more hectic and stressful. And it may not have been that way the whole time, but you definitely have this kind of big blow up or fight right before you get into meeting your next person. And that person is going to be the love of your life. So we see a few things here, right? Basically what we see here with the Wheel of Fortune reversed and Justice reversed is that there's this whole aspect of kind of like a negative turn of your luck or your fate, or kind of like something that you probably have not experienced is what I'm seeing. I know this sounds very negative, right? But you have to realize that that whole phrase, it's darkest right before the dawn, is so true in this case. So Three of Swords just represents that there's this whole aspect of you being attached to people who aren't good for you. This card traditionally can represent heartbreak, sorrow, and I'm also taking that traditional meaning into the terms of this reading. So Fiery Climax approaches, and the Three of Swords just really represents kind of like that really passionate breakup, where, things are said, there's just no going back after that. There's no mending the relationship after something like that. And what we see here is it really takes an effect on your personal life. And what we see here is there's almost this aspect with Justice card reversed. You feel like the world's against you. You feel like, you might even feel guilty for past transgressions that maybe you had on someone else or something along those lines. But what we see here, the positive, is it says right here, your hard work is paying off, new moon in Capricorn. And we get this very practical aspect of like what's going on in your work life. So whatever you're doing for work, if you pick this pile, you're going to be really succeeding at that. So even though you're going through this breakup, you're able still to compartmentalize, and you're probably the type of person that can compartmentalize work and their love life, and you probably keep them very separate in your life. They probably don't leak into affecting the other. So yeah, it feels like everything's going wrong in your love life, right? But really what's happening is your professional life is going very, very well. And then we see this here with the King of Pentacles, the reverse King of Pentacles. Like traditionally, like with this particular King of Pentacles, he's in a library and he has this golden pentacle. And I see this as like wisdom, or like wisdom about life, or like understanding life. And especially with the wolf here, I have another deck, and the spirit animal card is turn knowledge into wisdom. And I'm definitely seeing that like this guy, this inner wisdom, is kind of turning into outer wisdom, basically, is that they're being able to collect knowledge from like outside sources. So you might be in a phase of your life where you're very curious about things right before you meet your person, and you're collecting a lot of information all the time. That's the best way to put it. And then this kind of like information collecting, I see it has to do with your work life, or it kind of has to do with what's going on in your work life. Maybe you are learning some new skill for your job, and your hard work is paying off, and that you're like achieving accolades or something. But what I'm seeing here, this is interesting because the reading is so different from like these cards to these cards. And then we have practice compassion and see things from a fresh perspective. So Hidden Knight also says, I'm grateful, and this loving energy fills every single cell of my body. This is just representing like when you meet your person. So what's going to happen is you're working really hard, and when you're going to meet them, I'm not really getting the how of how you're going to meet them, but this is when you're going to meet them. These are going to be the things you're going through in your life when you meet your person. And basically the catalyst is like, you're going to be starting to see things from a different angle. You're going to be starting to see things from a fresh perspective, right? This knowledge that you're gaining through your work life kind of translates into this kind of bad negative turn of events that happened in your love life. And you start to see things from a different angle, You start to see that, the wheel, this is interesting that they have the Wheel of Fortune here, is because the wheel, it kind of turns around. It can flip around, right? This Justice card, you can see that through this sword, she sees her reflection, right? And right now the shadow self is on the top, but, right below that, right below the sword is, the light self, or the self that's like the real, true, real world self. So what we're seeing here is that there's this flip of perspective that you go through, and that kind of catalyzes finding the one. Once you see this flip in perspective, the one just kind of appears in your life, right? And then we have this, and part of this perspective shift is it says, I am grateful, and this loving energy fills every single cell of my being. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things where once you see this fresh perspective, you get that kind of compassionate nature fueled into you. And also, you really feel it to your very core. You feel it, it says here, it says, fills every single cell of my being. You're really definitely filling up. It really is kind of just like the Wheel of Fortune, right? We start, as you see with this card, you start jumping onto the wheel in this dark, shadowy nature. You go through this transformation, which is this perspective that you see, and you end in the light. And through this transformation is when you meet the love of your life, I'm happy to tell you. So let's look at timing, right? Because the cards, I'm also looking for timing and seeing any kind of timing things of what like actual time you might meet the love of your life. Okay, so the one thing I'm like seeing mainly, right, is because justice is represented by Libra and you have new moon in Capricorn and full moon in Aries. That's a lot of square aspects to like the zodiac, right? It's like a lot of square dichotomy. And basically these are the cardinal signs, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. The cardinal signs. So you might be like finding that you start seeing signs of meeting the one in all three of these cardinal signs. But the only one that's missing, that's not in this reading, is Cancer. And that's like at the beginning of June, towards the end of June, beginning of July, I would say. So around that time, I definitely see that this could be a time when you are having that turnaround, right? Because you have all three components, right? You have Libra, you have Aries, Libra, and Capricorn. So I definitely see the fourth component that's missing, Cancer, is being very important, a very key element to a time. So you might meet this person in the summer. With the wheel, though, it's almost as if you might have kind of like this rotation payoff thing where one time around the wheel is kind of where you are dealing with all these issues, and the second time around the wheel is where you're picking up all these things. So Cancer could be the moment where the wheel starts to turn, where the perspective shifts, and happy to tell you that maybe in the next season of, what's after Cancer? I think it's Aries? No. Libra, then Capricorn, then Aries. Maybe that next cycle through, you'll have more positive shifts and you'll be with the love of your life. So it'll be kind of like more enjoyment time, a more joyous time. Yeah, so that was your reading, when you will meet the love of your life. If you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, and subscribe to my channel. I post pick cards like this pretty frequently. With that said, personal readings are in the description box if you want to book one of those. I really enjoyed reading for you. Moving on to group number 2. Hey, group 2. This is if you picked the Tiffany stone. I love this stone. It's like pink and lavender. I have a couple pieces, but I left them out in the sunlight and they faded and it was sad. But then I found these other ones that I had in the closet and I was very happy because I was like, these ones are bright and purpley. All right, here looks like a good spot. I'm gonna do a little rotation for these cards. I don't know, do any of you guys shuffle like this? I don't know if any of you are tarot readers, if you shuffle kind of, I do like pile shuffles like that where I rotate the piles. That's how I like flip around to get reversals and all that good stuff. Okay, so we have this card. Eight of Swords reversed, it's gonna be the centerpiece. Just a couple more cards and then we'll get into the reading. Get your Whispers of Love. Oh, we'll take that one. And whoa. Crystal Wisdom. The Oracle card. So I see other tarot readers on YouTube and I just am like in such awe of like how graceful their shuffling is. Because I don't know, it's so difficult for me to shuffle these cards. I guess I'm just klutzy or something. I don't know. Okay, so what we have here for your crystal affirmation, we have Hidden Night. Oh, it's the same one the last group got. So I'm grateful and this loving energy fills every single cell of my being. Okay. So that's really good. That means that you're going to have a similar kind of connection that the last group did to their person, like how that's going to happen. So you might want to look at that last group just to see there might be a similar pile, group number 1 to group number 2. So let's flip over your cards and see what you get. A new start is coming. The answers you need are coming. 10 of Cups, Page of Wands, and 8 of Cups. Okay, let's get into your reading. So, let's see. Where do I start? This is a very interesting pile. This is an interesting card in particular because the meaning that I'm interpreting with it is like so different. Like what's in this cup, like I don't know if you see this, but there's like a cup and it's like on fire. But what's in this cup, there's an interesting dynamic with like these two cards, but I will get to that in a little bit. So let's see, first of all, when you are kind of meeting your new person. So what I'm seeing is there's going to be some kind of shift in your immediate family dynamic. This could be like your parents or your brothers and sisters, or say you lived most of your life with a cousin, or whoever you lived most of your life with, who you grew up with, the people that were around you. Say you had like a best friend in childhood. It could be anyone, any kind of home situation, whatever feels like home to you. You have a new start is coming in this home environment. For a lot of you, this is going to be a pregnancy, like someone's having a baby, or there's a new family member coming in. There could be some other situation where one of the main money-making figures in the household gets a new job, and there's like this whole new idea of like, you might move somewhere, or you might just have a little bit more income coming into the household. So wherever your like immediate family, I'm definitely seeing this as like your parents, or kind of like just, this could also be, this could be like anything really. You could get a new pet. This could be a new start is coming, and new moon, and this 10 of Cups just represents that some family dynamic is shifting and changing in your family, and it's going to be very positive, right? So for some, it's a pregnancy, you're getting a new pet, someone's getting a new job, something like that. What we're seeing here is you're going to meet your person. What we're seeing in this pile particularly is there are some like body image issues going on with the 8 of Swords in reverse. But the thing is you're overcoming them. So basically this new thing in your family life kind of gives you more confidence, or makes you happier. And because you become happier, you start analyzing yourself in a different way. So your mindset starts shifting basically before you meet your person, and you start talking to yourself in a more positive, way. The Page of Wands, when I traditionally interpret it in the traditional tarot, it's a guy standing and he's assessing a wand, right? He's kind of being critical of the wand, he's assessing its properties. And with this being right above the 8 of Swords, I'm definitely seeing that you are kind of like taking this aspect of yourself and like assessing it to like way too much. So it's like looking in the mirror and like seeing every little imperfection, every little thing wrong or not working, and kind of like critiquing it. And you're kind of tying yourself up, right? So the reflection, if you look at this card, her reflection in this mirror, she's actually tied up by all these birds, which the birds in this deck to me always represent thoughts, or kind of like how the way our mind works and our thinking. You know, if you, I mentioned this in another reading, but Odin, the Norse god of thunder, has 2 birds, right? And they're both ravens, black birds, just like these crows. And they're called Thought and Memory. They're Hugin and Munin. I think I'm saying their names right. And they're called Thought and Memory. And these 2 crows like do everything for Odin because he like lost his eye, and so now he has these crows, and the crows like help him like see things and see into the past and see what's going on in the world, right? But this is like kind of like the way I'm seeing this too is it's like your thoughts are kind of like affecting how you view yourself. And look at this woman, like without the mirror there, she looks like she's confined. Her arms are like tied in, and she's like holding herself so like securely, right? And she's bound, but she's only bound in the mirror. She's only bound by looking at her reflection. Really, without her reflection, she's not bound. She just thinks she is, right? It's kind of that whole idea where your self-image kind of gets in the way of who you truly are, your true beauty, or your true being, basically. So what we see here with the Page of Wands, yeah, I remember how I mentioned the traditional tarot has the guy assessing the wand. Well, this tarot, she is throwing the wand in the air. She has forgotten the wand. She's like, forget this wand, right? So you're dropping the critical attitudes. You're dropping kind of the way you're talking to yourself, you know, and it's because of this shift in your family life that kind of really affects your mind space. So, I mean, I wouldn't worry if you're watching this now and you're dealing with these kinds of issues. I would just kind of feel rest assured that like once this new change comes in your family, it's really going to affect the way you view yourself, and you're just going to kind of throw those critical attitudes out. Now it's interesting because I'm seeing here that there is still going to be some time before you meet your person, but these are just pivotal things that are going to happen, like sometime before you meet your person. So it's kind of like with this right here, the answers you need are coming. There's also a little thing where with this throwing away of this critical nature that you have of yourself, right? What we're seeing here is you're going to be getting rid of some things in your life. So this cup with this fire, I don't know if you can see that right there. I'm definitely seeing this cup and fire is like you taking like notes or like notes. I'm definitely seeing some kind of message of some kind, like written message or text messages or something being like burned or deleted, and you're throwing them away and you're moving on, right? Because whatever this message was, it was very confusing for you, and it wasn't like giving you the clarity you needed. So with answers you need are coming, you're leaving these like false messages behind and you're moving towards this truth, right? You know the truth's out there, and it's weird. This is more of like not a reassurance card, but like a self-empowerment card. So the answers you need are coming are kind of like you believing like, yes, I know the answers I need are coming, right? It's gaining this faith in the universe. If you look at her and she's walking off into the unknown, leaving this behind, she's not turning back. She's not looking back. She's not looking back at what she's discarded or burned or given away because she knows it doesn't help her anymore. She's leaving behind these false paradigms, right, of that she believed for herself and in herself, and walking away from those, knowing the answers she needs are coming. Now, it's interesting because, right, we're going back to this 10 of Cups energy, right? Your person comes in because this all starts with some kind of positive change in your family dynamic, and it makes you realize how much your family means to you and how much you love your family. Whoever this was growing up, I mentioned earlier, it could be various different situations, but basically whoever you're valuing, it's really affecting your self-esteem. It's affecting your decisions. Like whatever happened, this catalyst, this new start, this new moon really changes things, and that's when your soulmate comes in. It's really right after you delete these kind of messages, or you delete this kind of information, or you throw it away, or you kind of just make a point to get it out of your life, that you have this. And it says, consider your foundation, look at how committed you are to love. And you really feel that. And that's kind of like the key point that brings in the person for you, is that you're seeing how committed you are to love, right? This love situation with the family love, the self-love, and then the love of like just knowing that you're heading to something better. That commitment is what attracts this person to you, right? And that's the same kind of loving vibe that like the last group has a little bit of, because right here we have, I'm grateful, and this loving energy fills every single cell of my being, right? This loving vibe is gonna fill you full, is the best way to put it. You're gonna feel so on top of the world. And on top of the world might not be the best way to put it, but you will be able to feel the love in every single cell of your being. You'll be able to feel the gratefulness for all these things in your life that you maybe took for granted or didn't really appreciate. And that's really when this person comes into your life, right? That feeling of gratitude is really what's going to attract them. And that's kind of when they're coming in. So also, I want to make a point to talk about when you're going to meet this person. So I'm going to take a look at the cards to get like an actual timeline of like when you might actually meet this person. So for this group, I'm seeing that the cards are not letting me know or understand like when you're going to meet them as far as like timing is concerned. It's just kind of the situations and the circumstances is like when you're going to meet your person when you go through these things. But yeah, I'm not getting like a specific date or time for this pile in particular. I think there's just too many factors for this pile. There's too many people watching who are going to meet their people at different times because of these changes and stuff, and based on like when those things are happening. So that's the end of the reading for you guys. If you like the reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, and subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this pretty frequently. With that said, there's a link in the description box for personal readings if you would like one of those. And with that said, we're moving on with group number 3. Hey, group number 3, this is if you picked the Labradorite, that shiny beauty right there. Okay, let's see. Let's get you some cards. Top right there. Do a okay. I keep wanting to pull cards from the top of the deck for this pile. So I'm definitely seeing that, like, maybe this person is close to the surface, or this person is coming in soon. Whoa. That was a crazy flip. I think I'm going to take both of these for your group. Okay. Make sure these are all in the camera. Have to kind of scrunch things up for this reading. Okay, so let's start with your Moonology cards. Nothing is yet set in stone. Interesting. Emotions are running high. Strength in reverse. The Tower. 8 of Wands in reverse. Interesting. It's going to be an interesting reading. I am love and love is me. Diopataz. Okay, so make sure the camera's still on. Okay, so the thing that I'm seeing here for the most part, I'm just going to get started reading because this reading is the one that makes the least amount of sense, but I think it's going to click as I continue to keep reading, actually out loud. So nothing is yet set in stone is the first thing that stuck out to me. It just like makes me realize that all of these factors, like you are going to meet your person in like a very kind of unstable time in your life. Like the love of your life is coming in like right when there's kind of, I wouldn't say there's a lot going on. I would just say that there's kind of like, there's a lot of ups and downs. You're going to be on this kind of like emotional roller coaster when this person comes in. We see here with nothing is yet set in stone in the Strength card that there's this aspect of kind of like with the Strength card right here, we see this woman and she's like half beast or half lion. So there's kind of this idea of suppressing the beast within, like suppressing your wild side and not letting it kind of like roam free. Kind of like in the traditional Strength cards, like taming the lion before the lion's like had its life to live, I guess is the best way to put it. So, you know, nothing is yet set in stone means that because you're kind of suppressing your wilder instincts, like, or you're in the process of suppressing them when around the time you're meeting your soulmate, like it creates all this kind of chaos around your life. Luckily, you're not going to be harmed. Like you're not going to have anything happen to you, but you will notice things coming around you kind of like that are like kind of either destructive things or just different things where it's kind of like, how do I put this? It's kind of like you attract this storm, right? And the love of your life is kind of like part of this storm, like that when they come in, they're a part of this storm. and they're kind of the one thing that hits you, if that makes sense. So like basically nothing is yet set in stone, just shows. And if you look at these ocean waves, those are ocean waves, right? Anyway, I'm reading them as ocean waves. Those ocean waves are like the waves are like crazy, right? There is a storm going on, right? You have mutable moon. Interesting. And you also have supermoon right here. And so just the waves going crazy. And with the supermoon over here, I'm definitely seeing like this is this kind of unstable time, not for you, like I said, not for you, but it's because you're suppressing your wilder instincts. It's kind of like it erupts in your environment is the best way to put it. And there's some interesting things that happen because of this, right? There's a chain event, like a chain reaction or event. And it's kind of like you learn how to do this right off the bat. Like it's kind of like maybe you were being wild before, but then you kind of learn like, okay, so I'm gonna like suppress my wild side. You might have been actually pushed to kind of like a breaking point where you had to suppress your wild side. You know, you had to kind of get it under control. And I think that's going to be good for you in the long run. It's going to help you heal, but it also changes your environment to like an extreme degree. So you have all this kind of crazy stuff happening in your environment, right? So with the Six of Cups up here, in between the emotions are running high, nothing is set in stone. We have kind of like this whole idea of like backwards transgression. Like you might actually be feeling more nostalgic, but you might actually be focusing on things that were like negative past like childhood things. And what we see here is this like this Tower card kind of like creates this kind of like focusing or like you're suppressing your wilder side, right? So it's making you think in your mind like, how do I put this? You're remembering all the painful things of the past is the best way to put it. Now, like I said, it's not bothering you too much. You're not going to really be affected by kind of like this intense energy. You're just kind of like the center of the storm, right? But because you're going through these negative memories and you're bringing up these negative memories in the past, this could also be a really healing time for you if it's used correctly, right? These negative memories you could be processing them and healing. I would highly recommend during this time when you like get to this point to start meditating with these memories and maybe do like past life regression therapy. I think it's called regression therapy, where it's like you take the past life that, you know, the wounds, and do it with like your actual memories of yourself in your past, process them, and then send them off into the universe. I think that would be very beneficial at this time. It would ease some of these tensions. But for the most part, what I'm seeing is this Tower card in reverse, or this Tower card upright, doesn't really represent a change with you, but a change in your environment. You might start to notice little destructive things happening in your environment. Like you might be walking by someone and then you're fine, but they drop and break like a glass and they're like, crap, dang it. Blah, blah, you know, they have a little flip out moment. Or you walk by someone who's having like a discussion and then you might notice their discussion turns into like kind of like an argument and they're kind of start yelling at each other. But once you pass, their argument kind of fades away. So you're going to notice little destructive things happening around you. And that's kind of a sign. That's a big sign that you're about to meet the one. I know it's a weird sign, but it's true. And that's where this emotions are running high, right? It's going to be this really intense, like a supermoon, or just think of a full moon. When a full moon happens, like there's that whole phrase, I don't know if anyone's watched Hocus Pocus, where Danny, the girl of the brother, the little girl in the show, says like, I don't want to go out on a Halloween by myself. The weirdos are out, the full moon's out. So it's kind of like one of those situations. With the Eight of Wands reversed, it's going to be a very slow time for you and your manifestation abilities, like you wanting to bring things into your life. And that's basically because you're suppressing kind of your wilder urges at this time. So it's creating this kind of like slower paced mentality. Like Eight of Wands reversed is kind of like delays is how I'm reading it right now. But it's interesting because Eight of Wands, like it also could also mean that things in your environment, things are manifesting for people in your environment very quickly. So it's one of those things where, yes, there's a lot of destructive energy around you, right? And you're not going to be affected by it, but other people can tap into this energy. Like, even though you are unable to, other people can manifest things in this time. So you can even encourage your friends, your loved ones, your associates, anyone really, to like start manifesting at this time, and they'll see results. They'll definitely see results, because it's kind of like this weird thing where like you're about to go through this powerful transition when you meet the love of your life. The love of your life might be actually very powerful, because this kind of situation, when it happens, when two people meet like this and the world kind of around them kind of gets very chaotic, it's usually a very powerful connection. So what we see here with the Strength card is that in a way, it's good that you're doing this because it shifts things in your environment to make way for the situation to come into play, right? And these could be things that kind of they needed to come for a while. So I wouldn't feel too bad that you're maybe, because it's not like you're causing them. It's kind of really what's going on in the environment. So it's like your instinct is to suppress your wilder instincts. You could think of it two ways. Let me put it this way. You could think of it two ways. So you're suppressing your wilder instincts because you know that this storm is coming, right? Of like craziness, right? Or you're suppressing your wilder instincts and that creates the storm of craziness. So either way, it's kind of like a catch-22 where it's one of those things where it's like, what's the cause and what's the effect kind of thing. Anyway, so what we see here with this situation, let's read these cards. So be willing to express love to receive love, miracles and blessings, everything has its gifts. So the miracle and blessings is directly correlating to this kind of outer world manifestation thing. You might be kind of seen as a kind of very spiritual figure at this time by your friends and your associates and people around you because of this craziness going on and because you're able to like use your words in such a way to help other people manifest things, it's going to seem like you're kind of bestowing miracles on them, which is kind of interesting. So it's very important at this time because everything's going to be going like kind of off the wall crazy. This whole storm is coming in. This actually might manifest not just in physical disasters, but in actual storms, like big windstorms or rainstorms or any kind of like natural kind of like really intense weather patterns. So express love to receive love, and I am love, and love is me. You have this within you. Like if you look at the strength card upright in any traditional tarot deck, she is the epitome of love. I mean, she is taming a lion with gentleness and kindness. And this is what's going to happen with you. And this is kind of how you start to calm the storm around you, right? Is because you're expressing love to receive love, and I am love, and love is me. It's all about the interconnectedness of love and who you love. And through sharing this love and these miracles start to happen, it's kind of like the light that attracts the soulmate. Right? Or sorry, soulmate. I'm feeling soulmate for this vibe. Love of the life, soulmate. I think it's the same thing for this pile. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be interesting because once you start creating these miracles in your environment, that's when your soulmate comes in and they kind of see you glowing in a sense. You're kind of glowing with this kind of radiating with this kind of power. This is a very powerful time in your life. It makes sense why the love of your life is going to come in at a time like this. So let me look and see if there's any kind of inclination or I can see when this is going to happen. Wow. So the one thing that came to me that I just thought of right off the top of my head is that this supermoon, I'm definitely seeing like that this might happen while a supermoon is in like a very specific holiday or a time when people are celebrating. So for example, you could have a supermoon in any holiday really, like Halloween, Christmas, or any of the pagan holidays like winter solstice, summer solstice. I can't remember the names of the ones that are in between the equinoxes and the solstice, but any of those holidays, some kind of astrological event is going to happen with a supermoon. There might be a certain planet aligned, especially with mutable moon. I'm definitely saying that there could be a supermoon that's also in one of the mutable signs when this kind of gets started. Like, I think the mutable signs are Gemini, Pisces, is that mutable, right? I think that's mutable signs. I can't think of all of them, but it's basically the sign that's like right before all the cardinal signs. So let's see, I think that it would be Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, and what are we missing? The Earth one? And Virgo, I think? No. Yeah, Virgo. I think it's Virgo. Anyway, any of the mutable signs, you can look it up. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now, so I can't really remember like what the mutable signs are. But so the mutable signs, anytime there's a full moon or a supermoon in the mutable signs is when this thing could occur. So, and you'll know because you'll start to sense that like there might be some kind of event that makes you have to suppress your wilder side into like yourself, which kind of like creates this kind of like awakening of the environment and all that kind of stuff. Very powerful time indeed. Very powerful time. Very interesting that your love of your life comes in at this time when they're attracted to all this kind of energy. You know, it's almost like they're coming in with the storm and they're trying to get a little bit of a ride on that miracle wagon, you know? So yeah, if you enjoyed this pile, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you can subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this pretty frequently. With that said, that's it for the end of this reading. Oh yeah, personal readings. There's a link in the description box below if you want a personal reading, maybe get more info on this situation. With that said, we're going to move on to group 4, the Ametrine. Okay, group 4, if you picked the Ametrine, such a pretty stone. That gold and purple is just like so cool. Let's see if I can put that right there. Okay, let's get into your reading. So first I'm going to pull you guys a Moonology card, or 2 Moonology cards. Shuffle one more time. And these cards feel like charged up. Oh, there we go. So this will be your center card. Oh, and you're getting more flipping out. Maybe they all want to come out like that. This one. We'll draw the last one. Then we're going to get a Whispers of Love card. Oh, I like that card. This card came up for me when I was doing a soulmate reading for myself. Awakening Crystal. Okay, let's make sure this is all good here. Okay, let's flip over these Moonology cards. Adjustments are required. You're very close to achieving your goal. The Hangman in reverse. Interesting. Awakening Crystal. I am awakening to my true essence and I am a full expression of my soul's vibration. Okay, so this reading seems pretty simple. We'll see. This is when the love of your life's coming in. Well, you know that, you picked the video. Anyway, let's get into the reading. So adjustments are required in Queen of Cups is the first kind of information we're getting. And with adjustments are required, it's definitely pointing to the fact that you might have to make some kind of like adjustment within yourself to achieve this next position. It's kind of like goals are getting blocked. You might be in a time where things feel very stagnant. You might not be, what's that called? Maybe it's like more difficult for you to manifest at this time or something like that. So Queen of Cups just shows that it's important to just surrender to life and let things happen. So you might want to feel like you're at the point where you're used to controlling the outcome of your life. You're used to kind of like doing things to make things happen, and things are just not happening by your own efforts, your own hand. So what we see here with the Queen of Cups is it's better to just surrender, right? And let your kind of like natural way take over is the best way to put it. So you're letting life happen to you, right? You're not trying to fight it. You're not trying to go upstream, swim upstream. You're just going to flow downstream and go with the life, right? With the direction that life is taking you. It's kind of like you don't want to fight it anymore. And what we see here is that you actually really enjoy this new mentality. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air when you stop kind of like trying to change everything in your life and you just go with the flow. It's kind of like saying like, you know what, maybe I don't have to change this, or maybe I don't have to. Sometimes this kind of situation can represent like maybe you're forcing yourself to be happy all the time and maybe really you just want to like let go and have kind of like a good cry or something. Or maybe you want to let go and just like, today I feel like I want to be in a bad mood. Like it's just for a second, just let go, right? It's all about letting go with this pile. So any kind of thing that you're trying to force to make happen in your life is basically trying to tell you, let it flow on, let it go. You don't have to hold that dam anymore. You don't have to hold that wall up. It's all about letting go and flowing, right? And what we see here is this unblocking of the energy kind of gets you to this 9 of Cups energy right here, where you kind of feel, it's interesting. You might feel a little conflict with the 5 of Wands reversed in your own mind. Like you might feel a lot of different shifts of perspective, like battling within yourself. Like, I can't, I don't want to let this go, or I have to do this, or, like if I don't do this, then what's going to happen? If I don't help this person, then they're not going to save themselves, or, and I have to do it, or something along those lines. Or maybe, I have to do this task because no one else is going to do this task. Calm down. Let it go and let it flow. You'll realize that you'll achieve more and get more success and more abundance when you let it go. And this might be lingering, this 5 of Wands energy, these inner thoughts that you're having about kind of the doubts, about like still wanting to control your situation. But what we're seeing here is the letting go is really important and key here. Because it's a very important step for you to bring in your partner. So what we're seeing here is, on the next step is the Hangman, and you're very close to achieving your goal, right? It's interesting because with adjustments are required, this kind of like unblocks your energy, and in a way it's kind of like riding the tide. Like if you look at these 2 moons, like and how moons affect the tide, the moon's getting fuller, right? So I think, is that rising tide or lowering the tide? I'm going to go with rising the tide for this example because that's what I'm thinking of, but it might actually be something different. But if you look at this Queen of Cups, she has this cup here, right? She could grab the cup, lift the cup up with her hands and put it to her lips to drink it, but she's going with the flow. She knows that eventually, if she tries to grab this cup right now, she could push it underwater, sink it, spill the cup. It's a very delicate situation. So she knows she has to wait for the tide to rise and the cup to come up to her mouth where she drinks from it. That's the best way to put it, is you're kind of waiting for the tide to pull you into the new area, right? And you kind of learn how to work with the tide a little bit. And sorry, I'm getting lost in the metaphor. You kind of learn how to work with going with the flow so it works to your advantage, right? But yeah, the main thing is to wait, it's kind of like waiting for the opportune time, and just instead of trying to control every situation and make the outcome something that it's going to be, it's about going with the flow and letting kind of yourself see what's going to happen. And with the Hangman reverse, we definitely see here with this, I'm taking this very traditionally, how I see the traditional Hangman is like the timeout, the pause or the timeout. What I'm seeing here is that with this Hangman, there's this whole aspect of things moving actually quicker than you expected. So when you kind of let go and surrender, you soon find out that this is going to bring you a lot of abundance, and things are just going to kind of come to you rather than fighting for them, trying to make them happen. They kind of start just coming to you. Things kind of, treasures come to you, like love comes to you. Well, love will come to you. That's what we're getting to right here. Things are just going to start coming to you. And you're very close to achieving your goal, is just saying that like, you're always going to be feeling like that, right? Like you know that like, just like a river kind of has one path to follow. And when you surrender yourself to go in the river, you kind of like know where it's going to go because you can look right down it's going to feel very effortless and easy. This is a very easy pile. You're going to have a lot of joy, nice, pleasant experiences before meeting the one. It's going to feel like life is kind of unfolding before you, and it's going to be beautiful, and you won't feel the need to control it. At first, you might fight it a little bit, but what we're seeing here is that it's going to feel so natural. It's going to feel like a breath of fresh air to like not have to fight anymore. And when you finally kind of get this flow down, and then turn on your heart light. It says, reflect on a time when you experienced love. So just like with water, and you can see your own reflection in water, right? So as you surrender to this kind of flow in the universe, you start to feel more in tune with yourself, is the best way to put it. So you start to be able to experience memories as if they're happening in the present. And basically what that is kind of like you're experiencing the love you felt in the past that's happening in the current moment. So it's like you're going to start experiencing a lot of nostalgia, deja vu, flashbacks. It's going to feel really pretty cool, to say the least. I know people who go through this kind of thing, and it's like they're living their best childhood memories over and over again because they keep running into different states of being or mind that kind of like feel like this past situation. And so we have this kind of awakening crystal here, soul awakening. And this is really what's happening, is your soul is waking up. I'm awakening to my true essence, and I am a full expression of my soul's vibration. And during this time of like having these experiences and these memories, you're going to have a memory of when you felt in the past truly in love with someone else. Some moment in your past where you truly felt in love, and you knew you felt this love, you knew you felt this vibration. And so when you experience this loving vibration, that person that you're with, where you experience that memory of love, that feeling, that nostalgic feeling of what love is that you maybe haven't felt in a while, because I feel like you've been in this driver's seat trying to control things for, some time. That feeling of like love is that person that ignites that feeling, or that you encounter that feeling. That's going to be your person. And because you're not like trying to jump on and control things, you're just letting things happen, it's easy for that feeling to like seep into you and kind of become a part of you. And that's kind of how you and your person, your love of your life, get attracted to each other. And they kind of fuel that throughout your life. They're going to fuel that kind of nostalgic, pleasant sensation in you and take you on trips and journeys. It's kind of like you're finally in alignment with your soul's purpose and your path, and you found someone to swim with through this river. So a very beautiful reading. Let me take a moment to see if there's any indication of the timing when you're going to meet your person. I think this pile doesn't have too much indication of timing when you're going to meet your person. I'm definitely just seeing that that's basically what's going to happen when you meet your person. Right before you meet your person, it's kind of this transition that you go through. So this could happen anytime. Don't worry about forcing it. The whole point of this is that to not force things, right? To not be in control, and to, kind of let go and let things happen spontaneously. So I hope you guys enjoy that journey. That's like a really beautiful journey to be on. I'm glad that you get to go through it right before you meet the love of your life. So if you like that reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, you subscribe to my channel. I post pick-a cards like this pretty frequently. With that said, we're going to move on to the next group. Oh yeah, link for personal readings is in the description box below if you want one of those. And yeah, we're going to move on to the next group, group number 5, the last group. Okay, last group, group number 5, if you picked the double-pointed quartz. So let's get into your reading. Let's see what's next. Oh my gosh, brain fart. Yeah, these cards. Okay. Very different energies with all the groups today, so that's kind of cool. We've got whispers of love for you. Okay. Oh, this one. Definitely this one. And then we'll take a crystal affirmation. Everyone's getting a lot of yellow stones today. Maybe this is kind of like an indication that some people need to work with their solar plexus. Flip over these cards. Oh, okay. I kind of already know what's going on, but let me take a look at it and just make sure I have the whole picture. Oh, let me flip this card over. I forgot to. This is such a cute pile. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to get to it in just a second. I'm flexible and free to be me. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm going to cry. Oh my gosh. This is such powerful energy. The last pile and this pile, I think the combined version of both piles is just making me like, I'm like, I gotta, wow. Okay, intense. Okay, so calm yourself, Cody. Calm yourself. Okay, so communication is key in Knight of Pentacles. So here's the thing with this pile. So this is like when you're gonna meet the love of your life, right? You actually already know them. People who pick this pile actually, most of you already know your person. I'll say that. Some of you won't, and if you don't, I'm going to speak because I know most of you probably already know this person. I'm going to speak as if, do the reading as if most of you, the people who know the person are listening. But if you don't, if you don't know your person, just assume this same pattern is going to happen for you. But yeah, so here's the thing. You have a working relationship with someone. So you have a Knight of Pentacles situation where you have like someone who is about your age, but they make you feel like a teenager again. And this person is actually in your work environment or where you're working currently. And if you're not working right now, or you don't have a job where you will work in the future, this person will be there. Or this is someone you're working on a project with, like a creative project. So communication is key, just shows that like you really do communicate very, very well with this person. New Moon in Gemini, this is kind of like a feeling of freshness. Like you're almost, how do I put this? It's a feeling of like fresh communication. So you know you work well with them, right? But what we see here is that's not kind of the sign that is kind of like how you guys like discover that you kind of like love each other. But what we're seeing here also is that you kind of really like you already really admire this person. I'm seeing is like you really admire them, and you know the communication is just so easy and effortless with them, and you kind of met them in a work environment. Let's get into the rest of the reading. Something happens though, something like somewhat tragic happens, but it's not that painful. I mean, we have the Ten of Swords, but it's in reverse, right? And basically what we see with this card is she's looking out over this empty vastness of possibilities, right? And these birds are roaming free. Her thoughts are roaming free. They're free to fly. They're free to roam. And she's looking off in this distance, right? In the traditional Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is about this guy who's like stabbed in the back and it's like being betrayed by a group, or it kind of represents an ending or a difficult ending or something that ended that you maybe didn't want to end. You know, sometimes I see it as taking down a revolutionary, but that really doesn't apply here. What applies here is this vast empty space behind her. And basically she's looking into this basically new open possibilities. And that's kind of what scares you is because, okay, so there is an ending here. With the Ten of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles, there's an ending of a business proposition. So you might be working with this person in a work environment or know that you communicate with them very well and you already work with them, but you have one project with them that kind of falls through. This also could be a kind of a situation where you're both working at the same job and one of you gets fired and the other one doesn't, right? But the thing is, you guys are so close and you click so well. What we see here with Hold Your Vision is that it's you realize that this relationship is not just a work environment relationship because you both still communicate with each other. You discover that after you kind of are not in the same work environment anymore, you still talk, you still communicate. And even though this business project fell through, now this could be the beginning of a new project. It could be someone getting fired and someone staying at the job. It could also be that you both try to embark on some business project that falls through. And then really there's like open possibilities. There's almost like an emptiness. Like, what do we do when we don't work together, right? That's kind of like the thing is because your relationship's all based on work is what I'm seeing here. But holding your vision fixed moon means that like you really just stick with this person, right? Like, even though you don't, and the relationship kind of gets rocky at first, but that's where you guys discover that this person is not only a Knight of Pentacles to you, a solid, loyal, dependable working partner for you. They're also the Knight of Cups. They're romantic, sensual, compassionate. This person is going to seem like fresh air all over again. It's almost like you learned that, you don't have to put stagnant roles on your relationship. It's, you're not just two people working together that get along really well. You're also people that outside of work get along really well. And you realize that your relationship is what makes you, not the environment that you're in and how you fit into that environment. So what we see here with Hold Your Vision and Knight of Pentacles, that's kind of like when you realize that this person is the one that you love and the one that, and basically the broader message for most of you watching this pile is it's basically you're going to see yourself in a different situation with someone you already know and realize you're just as compatible in that different situation as you are, before that situation happened, where you thought you only were compatible with them in one way. Maybe because of what past people you were compatible with in a working environment, but then outside you weren't, and you just thought that that's how it was with all people. What you're going to see here is that this person's going to really change your mind about that, and they're really going to be it's going to be like fresh new compatibility all over again. So the heart of the matter says there's more going on than meets the eye. And that directly correlates back with what I was talking about, where you're not really sure what you think is happening, where it's just a coworker and it's just an easy communication with a coworker. What you don't realize is that it's going to be more than that. And it's like what you see just with your eyes is not all there is. It's going to be in the future, there's going to be more, And then Brazilianite says, I am flexible and free to be me. Flexible is a key word here, right? As you realize you are flexible. Even though you're holding your vision with this person, you're keeping strong, you're keeping true to this person, right? What you realize is that you and this person are both very flexible and that you can adapt to each other in different ways. You can be in different situations and still maintain and have a solid relationship with each other. And that's kind of one of the things that stands the test of times, I believe, in most relationships is, being able to be in different situations, different trying circumstances, different environments with different people, in different groups, and you still can maintain your relationship even in those different situations. And that's what we see here, Free to be me just shows that once you realize you're not kept to these roles that you hold, you're not just, worker, or you're not just a boyfriend only and you can't work together. And really free to be me just means you can be 100% you with this person. And that's what you're going to find out. Oh, that's so sweet. Very happy to tell you that. I don't think there's going to be any timing here as far as when you're going to meet this person, because I think for most of you, you already have met this person. For those of you who haven't, I'm seeing the Ace, which is the beginning of the Minor Arcana, and the 10, which is the ending. So probably when you're starting a new job or ending a new job and starting a new one is when you're going to meet this person, because I'm definitely seeing you meeting them in a work environment. So yeah, that was your pile. If you liked your reading, you can like or comment below. If you really like the reading, subscribe to my channel. I post pick-a cards like this pretty frequently. If you would like a personal reading, link is in the description box below. With that said, we are done with all the piles for today. I will say goodbye to you all and see you in the next pick-a card.